Welcome to Songwriters from Here and Away. This is a show that focuses on new and established songwriters from Atlantic Canada, across Canada, and around the world. Hello, and thanks for tuning in to Songwriters from Here and Away. I'm Robert Campbell, and this week we have three songwriters in the room. These are professional songwriters. They've been writing for a number of years together. Lucy LeBlanc, I've known for many years. I've written a few songs with her. Bill O'Hanlon and Paul DeMarco. They get together every week, and they have hundreds of songs, thousands between them, and they are quite successful with their sync work and with getting cuts by artists and that kind of thing. We talk about their process a little bit, and we share some of their songs. So I'll jump right into the chat, and throughout the hour, you will hear music. How have you guys been writing together as a trio?
That's a good question. What do you think? 3 years? 3 years? 4 years?
I'd say 4, yeah, probably 4 years now.
I can find out exactly, but yeah.
Yeah. And lately I noticed that you've been getting together virtually every week or more often than once a week. Is that right?
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah.
Once a week. We kind of started that right away.
Right.
We gelled right away. It came about because I'm a member of Songtown. So is Bill. So is Paul. And Songtown's run by Marty Dodson and Clay Mills. Mm-hmm. And Clay Mills sent an email to Paul and I, and saying that he thought perhaps we would be good writing together, and introduced us to each other.
Right.
And told me what Paul's capable of, which is everything. Artist, producer, songwriter, the works.
And he has a nice hat.
Me, which is mostly just lyrics. But right. Bill, that Clay also said that Lucy sets up three-way co-writes, and so she'll probably bring in someone else.
Right.
I got hold of Bill, said, would you like to be our third? And that's how it started.
Great. So it's not everybody that can write together. So you guys have gelled. I've had co-writes with 1 and 2, 3 other people where it just hasn't worked. And that writing combination has never happened again because of that. What do you think makes the difference for you guys being together for this long? How does it fit? How does that work?
It's a little like dating. It's a little like getting married or a relationship. It's hard to say. There's just a chemistry. I did look it up because you asked. Our first song we wrote in August of 2019, it was called Designs on You. That song turned out so well. That was our first hit. And Lucy actually submitted it to a songwriter competition in Texas. And that song won. I think, Lucy, you can tell that better than I.
I can't remember if it was in the rock version. Actually, I'm going to back up a whole lot. That first song we wrote, Bill came in with an idea. And maybe, Paul, you can expound on that idea. Remember what that Bill brought in?
Yeah, I do. I remember, because one thing that I think is really important and interesting, which I think is, you're talking about the ingredients, why we work. All I can say is, in the room when we're together, and it's a virtual room because we're all in different parts of the world, there's this level of trust, which is unusual because it wasn't necessarily earned trust because we didn't know each other before as a three. But there's this level of trust where we speak very freely in the room, which makes songwriting really easier to do because everyone just says what they feel, says what they think, and we're all considerate of that. So I remember Bill coming into the room, and Bill, you'd just been to the opticians, right?
Right. Hi, doctor. Yeah.
Bill had just been to the opticians to get his eyes checked, and as the optometrist reached over him to do something, he noticed she was like covered in tattoos, and he was like, "I wonder what this girl's story is. You know, she's covered in tattoos," and he just wasn't expecting it. I think in that sort of setting, so we just started with that idea. And this girl had designs on her, tattoo designs, and wondered what the story was. So we kind of combined our life stories in relationships and things, and came up with this accumulative story of a guy who goes into a coffee shop, and as the girl's serving him, she reaches up for something and he sees this tattoo on her shoulder of a broken heart with wings, and he just thinks, wow, what does that mean? What's her story? And that was the birth of the song. That was our first song. So it was it came together.
Right now I'm going to play 4 versions of the song, but the first 3 just snippets of Designs on You. First one will be the Americana version, then a country pop version, then a rock version, then the acoustic version. So you get an idea of what they did with the 4 takes. I think it's quite fascinating, and it's a great song. Here it is.
Every morning you flash your usual smile. You know the latte I want before I utter a word. Damn, I've always loved your style. When you go to ring up my order, your t-shirt falls just off your shoulder, and I see that tattoo, a different side of you, a broken heart with angel wings. You've got designs on you. I wanna see some more. I've got designs on you too. You're making this broken heart sore. Who knew that love could start with a torn tattoo? Got designs on you. I wanna know that story. Who left that mark on you? Tell me who broke your heart. How did you rise above it? How did you make it through? There's a mystery about you now. You got an underneath my skin somehow. Wanna learn everything about those angel wings and uncover who you really are. You got designs on you. I wanna see some more. I got designs on you too. You're making this broken heart sore. I see you every morning. You flash your usual smile. You know the latte I want before I utter a word. Damn, I've always loved your style. When you go to ring on my order, your t-shirt falls just off your shoulder, and I see that tattoo, a different side of you, a broken heart with angel wings. You got designs on you. I wanna see some more. I've got designs on you too. You're making this broken heart sore. Who knew that love could start with a torn tattoo? Got designs on you. I wanna know that story. Who left that mark on you? Tell me who broke your heart. How did you rise above it? How did you make it through? There's a mystery about you now. You've gotten underneath my skin somehow. I wanna learn everything about those angel wings and uncover who you really are. You've got designs on you. I wanna see some more. I've got designs on you too. You're making this broken heart sore. You got designs on you. Oh, I wanna see some more. I've got designs on you too. You're making this broken heart sore. Who knew that love could start with a torn tattoo? Got designs on you. Designs on you. Designs on you. You got designs on you.
Years ago, when I started co-writing, I took a co-writing class through Songtown. They said, figure out what your strengths are. And I had written songs on my own before. So I did lyrics and I did melody. And, so I thought, what are I do it all. I play an instrument. I play a couple of instruments. But as time went on and as I wrote with more and more people, it emerged that usually my strengths are two, maybe three. One is I usually bring an idea. And almost for a few years, almost every time I wrote with a couple of other people, we'd use my idea because sometimes the other people would bring ideas too. Secondly, I write lyrics very fast. And it's funny because Lucy and I both write lyrics and, Paul, again, sometimes I write melody and I bring in melodies to the three of us. But Lucy and I, for some reason, we work really well together on melodies. She's a little more precise than I am, and I'm a little more quick. Let's just say that. And so sometimes I go on so fast, I don't even stop to edit. And so she's good at like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense here. Or we were using you, not I, and things like that. And then maybe because I used to be a therapist, I'm pretty good at bringing the best out in people. And Lucy's really good at doing rooms, creating rooms. And Paul's, as Lucy says, created everything. He plays instruments, guitar and piano and bass. And, he's just a great singer and he's a great writer. And, so he brings that all. And for some reason, it's, as I said, like chemistry, it just gels with the three of us. And we all have other people that we write with. And sometimes is magical, but for the three of us, it's magical. After about 4 sessions together, we got together one time, we had a brief for a sync thing, and it was about a Western setting. And Paul brought in a couple of ideas, I brought in a couple of ideas, and we wrote 5 songs in less than 3 hours. And 4 of those songs, I think, have been signed to the sync things. And so it was just like, you don't find that very often. So we started to make it a more regular thing.
Well, I've seen some of the posts about how you guys have had some success with sync and with artists cutting tracks and whatnot. It's a tribute to the stick with itness concept. Paul, I listened to a number of the songs. I listened to all the songs that Lucy shared, and I noticed, Paul, that you're doing a lot of the production and singing on virtually all of them, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
Sometimes we have a female singer that we use.
Right. So that really helps when you want to be able to shop something around for sync or to an artist. So you're the kind of the in-house producer, right? Do you guys ever send it out for someone else to do that stuff? Or do you just generally always do that, Paul?
I think there was a couple of times where we've looked for different singers, but pretty much I think we've pretty much done everything in-house, because the interesting thing is, apart from when we've hired female vocalists, there are limits to my abilities. And what we found was there was nothing wrong with the singers that were doing the songs, but there's something about writing the song and then singing it which carries weight. That it's really that there are singers who I was thinking over here in Wales we've got Sir Tom Jones, who incredible singer. Elvis Presley, for example. There are exceptions where people can take somebody else's song and sing it, and you believe it. But what we noticed was when I sang the song, regardless of whether you like my voice or not, or whether it was a perfect vocal or not, we found that it was believable. You know, because I felt every single word that I was singing. I was part of the writing process. Often it's my story and Lucy and Bill embellish it. Sometimes it's their story and I embellish it. But there's little pieces of all of us in every song. Right. So I can really relate when the song gets performed. So it just made sense to just keep it in-house. Also, what helps with that is quite often we'll be pitching a song. We got a song called Best Damn Day of My Life, and we pitched that to a sync supervisor, and he said, love it, it's great, but the only problem is there are certain markets that wouldn't like the word damn.
That's great. We'll play that song right now. You're listening to Songwriters from Here and Away, and we're in the room with Lucy LeBlanc, Paul DeMarco, and Bill O'Hanlon, three writers who get together every week and write great tunes. I'd like to mention that this show and other events that we're doing are sponsored by East Coast Realty. So if you're looking for sales or purchasing of properties in the Atlantic region or maybe across Canada, give them a call because they've been helping us and we can help them. East Coast Realty Limited. Before we go on, I'd like to mention sfhaa.ca, sfhaa.ca for Songwriters from Here and Away. We have all sorts of the previous broadcasts and other information about concerts that we do. And we also have a Patreon, so look up SFHAA on Patreon and join there. It can be free, and we will be having live streams and all that. Here we go back to Lucy, Paul, and Bill. My question was on that song. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was wondering about the origin of the tune, and I kind of like the out of tune sort of horns on it, right? That loose horn sound that you captured.
Yeah.
But and the word "damn" is a really light expletive. But do you guys think about that at the time? Like when you're in the room at that moment, you're parsing out whether you should use that word or not, or darn, or how did you deal with that?
We didn't think about it until a supervisor gave us feedback, but now we do, since we've gotten that feedback. The other thing is, Paul, when you write with Paul has certain words that feel right in his mouth. And Lucy and I, mostly lyrics, and we're writing lyrics, and he'll say, no, that doesn't feel right in my mouth, or I can't sing it well. It doesn't sing well. And so that word just did it. But yeah, we could make a different version because Paul has the original tracks and he sung it. Just the best day of instead of the best damn day of my life. So we're very cognizant of that for sync, because sometimes you have to censor yourself a little to make sure you get in a commercial. They don't want the word damn in a commercial. It might be in a TV show or a movie, that would be fine. But
on the original, right, the word was really important because the origin of the song was it was during lockdown. And I had this, everybody was complaining about lockdown and everyone was saying, oh, I can't go to the pub. I can't see my family. I can't see my friends. I can't do this. I can't go to work. And I just decided, well, we've been given the gift of time, so how do I go through this, however long this period's going to be? Yeah. Do I fight it? Do I complain about it? And I just decided I was going to wake up every morning and make it the best damn day of my life. So the word damn was kind of important because it wasn't an expletive. We don't tend to use them, but it was almost like an emphasis. The best day of my life. No, the best damn day of my life. Right. So it was kind of an added thing to that idea,
Well, and alliteration is good too, right?
Yeah. We all love that stuff, and the three of us are psychotically optimistic, so we tend to go for those positive songs.
After we got that feedback about not having the word in there, we do have a version with the word taken out.
Sure.
But it's just not to me, it's not as effective, if you will.
Right.
And then Paul decided to do a ska version.
I was wondering about that. It's like the punk tune that I guess did recently. So wonderfully weird.
That's one of my favorites. Paul can really go UK punk and sometimes rap and grime, and so it's cool.
In the case of the So Wonderfully Weird, was that a pitch that you saw a sync request come through, a brief?
No, I don't think it was. It was eventually. It was almost quite often we'll write something before a brief arrives. Like we don't know the brief is coming,
Right.
and then we write a song anyway. So we wrote that song. I had this idea. I've been listening to a band called The Hives, and I teach at a rock school, and I do lots of different songs with the kids. And we had this high energy punk thing, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a high energy punk song? And so we write that, and then I think the following week I was in Liverpool away for the weekend, and this brief arrived, and I was like out the studio, and I'd messaged Bill and Lucy and said, this brief's come out, Wonderfully Weird's perfect for it, can you deal with it? So it was almost as if we have this theory that when that songs arrive, and that all you need to do is have your antenna up. You just got to be listening,
Right.
and when the song arrives, you got to capture it,
Right.
and then it'll have some purpose in some way, some place.
Right,
and
right.
In this particular case, literally a week later, the brief arrived. So sometimes the brief comes, we write the song. Sometimes we write the song and the brief comes.
Well, the synchronicity of that is great. And so just to clarify, so for people who may not know the biz, a brief is when a advertising company or a record company or a artist or production house or whatever goes looking for a certain type of song. How do those come to you, and how has that changed now that you've gotten some more success? I imagine you have those direct connections too. So
we're all members of Songtown, and through Songtown they have different groups, and they call them the Edge groups.
Right.
And we both Bill and I are in the Sync group, and within the Sync group there are two different groups. One of which is called the Sync Up. And the Sync Up group gives you live briefs as they receive them. So you will get a live brief, but normally those briefs are due very quickly. Lots of times you won't have time to sit down and write the song if it's due within the day or within 4 hours. But if you've got a few days or a week, well, you can do that. So that is one I've been in for a number of years.
Another one, we got a brief, as Lucy says, usually the timeline is very quick. It's 2 hours, 1 day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week. And we got a brief from Chantel Ogden, who's a sync agent. And she said, well, there's this indie movie that's called Love in Tahiti, and they're looking for a song. And we wrote a song, as our usual, on our usual weekly thing. Paul produced it overnight. And because he's in the UK, Lucy and I got it in the morning, and we could get it in by the next day when it was due. And that song was placed in the movie Love in Tahiti. And it was the first song in the movie, and it's called No Ceiling. I think you have it, actually.
Let the sunshine and skyline lead the way. Dive into the deep blue and find your place. Don't underestimate, take a firm hold of your space. Don't hesitate, 'cause there's no ceiling. Make everything that you see, everything that should be, that magic feeling. Be anything that you need, anything that you need. Reach on up, keep on dreaming. 'Cause there's no ceiling. No, no. Lose the shadow that's following you around. You're awakening and taking hold of the sound. Come on now, you know what you can do. Make your move, make Make everything that you see, everything that should be that magic feeling. Be anything that you need, anything that you need, 'cause there's no ceiling. Make everything that you see, everything that should be that magic feeling. Be anything that you need, anything that you need. Reach on up, keep on dreaming. Oh, 'cause there's no ceiling. No, there's no ceiling. So reach on up and keep on dreaming. 'Cause there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling. 'Cause there's no ceiling.
That's Paul, on the production of that, it's sequenced a bit, eh? You got the underlying sequencer thing going on?
So what I used for that, I used arpeggiators. So I had a plugin which was like, it works like an old synth, and I was just kind of getting that to work. Guitars are real. And then kind of, it's almost like a synth wave thing, kind of synth wave meets like pop,
Right. Well, I on the intro, like on the guitar, the keyboard guitar part, it's kind of got this wacky out of tuneness thing going on, like this really neat conflict, and I love that, right? And I didn't know what to think, and now I mean, I guess I'd have to see the song in the movie to see how it sits in the placement, right? For where it got used.
Go on Amazon, you can rent it. But go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that because all supervisors, everything they say is subjective. They kind of look at it from different angles. And one supervisor said, "Oh yeah, the guitar sounds slightly out of tune. You might want to fix that." So, and it was funny because I follow my gut a lot. So I was listening to the original version, and I knew it was slightly out, but I kind of liked it. It gave it this weird chorusy effect. So I left it. Anyway, supervisor gives some feedback. So I went, okay, fine, let's do that. So I went back and I played the guitars again, retuned it and everything. It was rubbish. It just didn't feel the same. I heard a really good story of Jimmy Page was in the studio with a producer, Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, and he was recording some guitar parts. And he decided to retire for the evening. He went upstairs to bed, and the producer just was tidying up the tracks, bringing things into line, and kind of there was a few sloppy timing bits. So he put them, lined everything up so it sounded better.
Right.
Jimmy Page came downstairs the next day and said, "Dude, throw up those tracks. I just want to have a listen to what was recorded last night." So he starts playing it, and Jimmy Page jumps out of his seat and screams, "Stop the tape! Stop the tape! What did you do?" And the guy was like, "What do you mean, what did I do?" He said, "It sounds wrong. What did you do?" He said, "I just lined things up and put things in order." And he said, "Well, put them back." Because the idea is that those imperfections are what we love about the songs that we love. Right. And that was a great example. Yeah. Out of tune guitars, it works.
Yeah. AI will never be Paul with a slightly out of tune guitar. That's right.
Fighting them all the way.
That's one of the topics that I had, the whole concept of AI and how you see that impacting what you guys do or the industry in general, because it's a big train rolling down the track that no one really knows which switch is going to get pulled and where that train is going, right?
Well, all I have to say is in our writing room, we'll never need AI because we've got Bill. You would not believe how fast those words and lines come out.
I'll do a John Henry thing. I'll do a John Henry thing and go up against ChatGPT for writing lyrics to a song. Mine will make more sense and I'll be just as fast.
A friend of mine just said, "We are AI. I have 68 years of stuff going in my ears and 60 years of stuff going out of my fingers. But it's still it's still an intelligence machine putting out the stuff." So I think this is very apropos to mention that you have three intelligence machines collaborating and feeding each other. And I think it's a very unique and incredible thing that AI will not be able to achieve for decades.
Or will never be able to achieve the emotion.
Maybe.
You know,
Well,
it's three people together.
Yeah.
You're kind of thinking like one brain, but more than that, you're sharing one heart, and that heart is what's going to bring out the emotion. And tell me, will AI ever be able to feel it?
Yeah,
That's
I think
a question we can't answer, I feel.
Oh, I think that's right. Until it evolves, and we'll see. But yeah, I think what we're really doing with music is we're putting emotion to a rhythm and a melody. And I think, that emotion is so grounded in people's bodies. Like Paul, when we were writing, he was like, that doesn't feel right in my mouth. Now, unless you're an AI robot who's got some sort of sensory program like that, you're not going to be able to say that. And also the wonderful accidents. So like, when jazz players play the wrong note and then they play it over again and it becomes part of the solo, there's a little of that accidental, like you say, you're taking input all the time. We get ideas everywhere. Lucy is really good at listening. So we'll be talking and she'll go, well, we ought to write that. That's the song we ought to write. Forget these ideas we were just talking about.
Right.
Lucy will say, you just said this, or we just said this, or this is what happened. We got to write that song. So it's that randomness and accidental stuff that when you get to perfection, that can be a little problematic because machines are good at getting to perfection and humans are good at messiness, I think, and emotion.
Yeah. Well, as three gentlemen in a room with a woman with a superlative wordsmithing, we can all give a nod to Lucy LeBlanc. I know that for sure. And
she's written millions, probably hundreds of thousands of words in songs by now.
Yeah, we love you, Lucy. Just got to say that. I don't necessarily keep that in the show, but we really should.
That's right.
If I could just backtrack a little bit, right down back to the very first song we wrote, that Designs on You. Paul right away created 3 different versions of that song in a production. One was a rock production, one was country, and one was Americana. And we put it out on Facebook. Hey, here's this production. What do you think? Here's another production. What do you think? And people would weigh in on their favorites. And it wasn't unanimous. Some people this, some people that, some people. For me, I gravitated to the rock one. And then there was this little song contest at in Austin, Texas, the Austin Songwriters. And I submitted that for the rock group. And it won an award there.
Right.
So
You're listening to Lucy LeBlanc, Paul DeMarco, and Bill O'Hanlon. 3 writers, one from Vancouver area, one from the United States, and one from UK. The different versions, have they been picked up in various versions or just?
I do a lot of pitching and I go with what my gut tells me. And for me, it's the rock version. So that has been signed by a sync agent, the rock version. Yeah. Right. That's the one I gravitate to. That's the one I pitch. Right.
And the interesting thing with that as well is because the rock version was pitched, and obviously it's the master of the track and the lyrics that they sign, but we kind of held back on pitching the other 2 because the lyrics were exactly the same. However, we had a brief come in wanting a particular type of lyric, and we actually used the track from the Americana version to create a completely brand new song with a completely new lyric. And that came out really well. I also play the song live acoustic, and I do it a 4th way. I do it completely different when I play it live.
And here's that song. It's called Same Old Round and Round, and it's built on top of the bed track that we heard earlier for the song Designs on You, the Americana version. Same Old Round and Round.
Just another day, alarm blows up at 5. Brew up black coffee, head out at sunrise. Drive to the warehouse and clock myself in. Another soul-sucking shift begins. The hours go by in an endless hum, unload and stack boxes until it's lunch. Rinse and repeat and wish for quitting time. Think I'm going out of my mind. Would you believe I used to have big dreams? Shake the dust off my feet and get out of this town. Who knows why it didn't happen for me? No, it's just the same old, round and round. Weekends here, I get in the routine. Meet up with the boys for a beer or three. Same old crowd, year after year. Even the band knows the songs we wanna hear. Dirt on my collar, dust on my jeans. They may both be blue, but they show you where I've been. I keep thinking, hey, maybe one day. But then again, it's so hard to change. Would you believe I used to have big dreams? Shake the dust off my feet and get out of this town. Would you believe? Yeah, I used to have big dreams. Shake the dust off my feet and get out of this town. Who knows why it didn't happen for me? No, it's just the same old round and round. Same old round and round. Same old round and round.
I think this kind of thing for songwriters, especially writing independently, a solo writer, not doing co-writes and not getting into the production end of stuff, it's very easy for us to navel gaze and not get outside our comfort zones of styles and production and ideas. And we all have our crutches that we rest on when we write, but I think it would be great to experience some of that variety to see that, yeah, you move outside the comfort zone, right?
I had someone ask me, one of my songwriting partners asked me, because Zeus was music supervisor for TV and movies, commercials, was asking for clean rap songs. And he said, come on, you're the lyric guy. Will you write a rap song? I said, no, I will not write a rap song with you. I listened to a little of it, but not that much. And he twisted my arm and I ended up having a good time. And then I brought Lucy in for the next one. And we wrote a rap song with the same guy. And then Paul and Lucy and I have written some rap songs. It's kind of nice to be pulled out of your comfort zone, as you say, and out of your usual patterns to do something that really stretches you. And the nice part about, like I'll write one song a year by myself just to remind myself I can do it. But I love co-writing. And what I love about it is that it pulls me into new directions, that kind of synergy of 2 or 3 people writing a song. And the other thing is you got 3 people putting that song out in the world. Because it's a lonely business, all right. And I say it takes a village to get a song out in the world. It takes a village to produce it. It takes a village to pitch it. It takes a village to write it and all that stuff. So I actually love this kind of team, that we have.
Too many times. blind myself to the vibes, but now I'm drinking down a bucket of pride. Been high on life and I'm flying inside. Hey, 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 what you say? Whoa, 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 wanna tell you how it's gonna go. I'm laying down a new kind of sound, gonna bring it around, and I'm bound to show you how. Open your eyes and watch me now. I'm down with the house, I'll be saying it loud.
This is Daddy-O by the Doll Group, of course, and that's Paul DeMarco singing.
We call ourselves Doll, which is based on our last initials.
Right.
And we use two of Lucy's, but, it's Paul DeMarco, Bill O'Hanlon, and Lucy LeBlanc. She gets two
Yes.
because she's the writer. She's the lyric person, so she gets that.
I was looking at the name and I realized that you have all three of you have a syllable last name, DeMarco LeBlanc, so O'Hanlon.
O'Hanlon, yeah, it's all the of. It's all
Right,
the
all
of.
three of it. And I
yeah.
thought, man, you couldn't have planned that better.
I've not noticed that.
I'm going to ask Paul a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You mentioned when you're playing Designs on You live, you do a different version. What would you call that version that you're doing live?
Well, it's at my acoustic gigs, and every single recording of the song that we've got is kind of more full production. And I think it's a really good test of a song, the fact that you can sit down with a guitar or a piano and play it, and it still works as a song. So I'll be honest with you, Lucy, I don't really know, because I think I play it slightly differently every time I play it. I pick up the guitar and I'm sometimes fast, sometimes slow. The chords don't really change, but it moves. So I just tell the story.
You picked your poison. You picked this path. Where you going? No, there ain't no going back. When you're walking on the wrong side, when you're breaking the law, you're not messing with the small time. You're gonna take the things you want. You're gonna take the things you own. Yeah, yeah. Walking on the wrong side when you're breaking the law. You're not messing with the small time. You're gonna take the things you own. Oh, walking on the wrong side. Oh, walking on the wrong side. No, walking on the wrong side. Oh, walking on the wrong side. No, no, walking on the wrong side.
That's Paul DeMarco singing On the Wrong Side, written by the Doll Group. Look up sfhaa.ca. You'll find it all there.
Well, I have to say thank you to Paul because I just got my my BMI earnings this quarter, and Paul's been playing some of our songs out, and those are showing up on my BMI statements, and they're adding to my BMI statements. I play songs out as well, and so I get some of that live performance royalty. And Paul's been doing a great job. He's out there 2 or 3 times a week playing with on his own or with a group that he has. And sometimes our songs show up on that list, and you can make a lot of money. Again, another reason to write with other people. They may go out and play your songs. They may record them and release them. Lucy and I have had a bunch of songs released that were recorded and released by our co-writers. That's the easiest way, as they say, writing with artists.
Right.
Paul's an artist. We write with Jan Edwards, who's another artist. And she puts out stuff a lot. And so that helps us get our music out in the world. And again, that co-writing thing has been so essential for my learning about how to be a better songwriter.
Right.
Not only in the room, you don't get caught in your own head and is this good? Is this right? But you also get the feedback right there. Somebody goes, I don't know, that line seems kind of cheesy, or wait a minute, we changed the rhyme scheme for the first verse. That's not right.
That raises a question I had. How do you resolve those differences of opinion? So how do you deal with those little issues in the room? You've made it to the podcast. This is the extended version, and I will basically let the interview run as it was recorded and insert some of the tracks. I really appreciate you being here and making it this far. Your support is greatly appreciated. Would love to have you join the mailing list and the online community. So check us out, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Here we go. How do you deal with those little issues in the room?
We fight.
Well, you find the people that are flexible, number one, that don't go, this is the way it has to be. None of us ever say. Sometimes we're strongly advocating for, no, I really love this line. I really want this word to be in there. But we're all flexible enough to let it go. And as somebody once, some writer, Hemingway or somebody said, be willing to kill your babies.
Right.
You know, the things that you think are the coolest lines, but don't quite work for other people or don't quite serve the song. So that's what I would say. What would you two say? What would you say, Lucy?
Well, if someone is very, very passionate about it, I usually bow to the passion. They've got a driving reason they want it, you know. But that's one of the good things about writing in a group of 3. If one doesn't want it, the other 2 do. Wow,
Right.
It's democracy.
Don't
It's
they?
democracy.
Yeah.
Majority wins. Sometimes, but again, sometimes that person with the passion will override the democracy.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Or you can make the case. Sometimes I'm a really good talker, as you've noticed, and I will make a case. Here's why I think this is the way we should do it. And sometimes they'll go, "Oh, okay, that makes sense," and I'll be able to talk my way into that.
You can
line.
baffle them with BS, right? Yeah.
That's my specialty.
But
I mean, it is a co-write. I mean, you know, it's not just you, right? So it's a blending together,
Right.
and creating something magical and special, actually.
Won't you carry me across the water? Help me find my way. I don't need to bathe my sins in wine, but I'm looking to be saved. I just need a little soul revival. I need to come back to life. I waded through a river of trials. Now I'm ready. I'm ready for a soul revival. Yes, I am. I've been skimming across the surface, couldn't sink down deep. Now I'm on my knees looking for a sign. I want to see the light and believe. I just need a little soul revival. I need to come back to life. I waded through a river of trials. Now I'm ready. I'm ready for a soul revival. This flood is gonna keep on rising, so I'm searching for some higher ground. There must be more than just surviving. Tell me, can you feel me now? Won't you carry me across the water? Help me find my way. I don't need to bathe my sins in wine, but I'm looking to be saved. I just need a little soul revival. I need to come back to life. I waded through a river of trials. Now I'm ready. I'm ready for a soul revival. Oh, I'm ready for a soul revival. Oh, yes, I am. I'm ready for a soul revival. Ooh, said I'm ready for a soul revival. Oh, yeah. A soul revival. Ooh, yeah.
That's Paul DeMarco singing on Soul Revival, written by the Doll Group.
Well, I mean, in a case, most of the time it is really a blend. But sometimes one person, Lucy, will write a whole lyric, or Paul will bring in a whole song. And then this is our joke between the three of us, because when we first started writing with Paul, he would play us this thing that he'd just written to bring to the session. And Lucy and I would look at him and say, Paul, that is just stunningly beautiful and well done.
What are we doing here? Yeah.
What is this song about? We would say.
Yeah.
It feels great. We have no idea what this song is about. And you go, well, it's about this. And then Lucy and I, we get to work like little mice, chewing out some of those words and changing them so that everyone who heard it would understand what he just told us.
Right.
Because we got the feeling, but we didn't get the sense of it. So that's, sometimes we'll bring in a whole thing. Sometimes I'll bring in one small idea and we expand it into a song. And again, that's the joy and the surprise of co-writing. You never know what's going to turn into a song.
Right. Yeah, it's a
beauty. And some of those songs have become my favorite songs in the world, not of my songs. My favorite songs. I'll find myself walking around my house singing or whistling a song, and then I'll realize, oh, that's a song that I co-wrote with these guys. It's great. I love that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. The idea of placement is something that I notice a lot of novice or less experienced songwriters fall into or fall out of. They don't put themselves in the positions as an observer of who's singing, what are they saying, and to whom, and where are those people situated, both physically, but emotionally and kind of psychologically, right? So that the song can deliver to the listener all those pieces without having to, if you go to a songwriter circle, great. Here's a song about me singing a song, or whatever. People introduce stuff and they give away the whole song, and okay, fine, I can listen to that song. But if I can't listen to the song without all that preamble or all that pre-knowledge, then it's to me, it's not a completed song, right? Yeah.
Agreed.
I remember something Marty Dodson said, and Marty's one of the songwriters hitting up at the top of Songtown. He said the first verse should accomplish three things: establish the characters, the context, and the setting.
Yep. Yeah.
And I try to remember that when we're writing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to writing.
And you got 4 to 8 lines to do it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And the first line has to draw you right in. Not just lyrically, but also melodically,
right,
so that the listener keeps on listening. And it has to drip on down through the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've
Keep
heard
that
Yeah.
listener engaged. Yeah.
I've heard that before too, is that when you hear a great song, you think, wow, that's so simple and so clear. I could write something like that. And then you try it, and it's not that easy to write something that's so clear and so simple and compelling, hooky. And there are so many things go into it. We pay attention to every syllable of every word, alliterations, the rhythm of that, where it falls in the phrase.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into great songwriting.
The prosody, syntax, and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
The thing I always say is people talk about that, and I say, well, just if it's that easy, just go out and try to write a Hank Williams song.
Right? Yeah. They seem so simple. That's a great example.
Right.
Hank Williams, it's so simple. It's 3 chords, and it's so simple. And then you go to write and you go, I can't do that. That is genius.
It's 2 or 3 syllable words is the max.
That's right. Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Whippoorwill. Now, come on, whippoorwill. That's a complicated word in a Hank Williams.
I have a tendency, as Lucy knows, to have sometimes more chords than one needs, and you have to really watch that. I noticed that you've got the tune on the wrong side, which is basically a 2-chord jam. And I noticed how it all comes down to, in that case, it's all about the production and the groove and then of course the lyrics and what you're doing on top of it. So where did that tune come from for you guys? Where did that go?
That was a really exciting thing, because Paul is such a good singer, and he got laryngitis. And we had a brief due, and song was written to a brief. And Paul had a great track, and he sent it to me. I was on an island in the Caribbean, and I went out in the morning.
Poor guy.
And that's one of the few that I've written the melody for, because Paul had laryngitis and couldn't do it. So usually I just defer to him because he's such a good melody writer and such a good singer. And I sang my croaky version of it into an iPhone and sent it to him. And when he recovered, he was able to sing it. And Lucy and I fixed the lyrics from my initial, rough ones. And it fit the brief perfectly. It didn't get placed, unfortunately. But after that, it got into the soundtrack for a movie.
Great. There you go. Good. Well, I really enjoy the songs. We Are Fragile. We Are Fragile. That's a lovely tune. Cool concept. And I love the space between the lines, right? I state something here and I wait.
Yeah.
And I state something again, and it gives us the chance to process, and it's almost too long for me, right? I was going, okay, right? So how did that one come about?
That's all Paul. He brought that in. And I just went, oh my God.
Yeah.
Lucy and I was like, again, but that was one of them we said, what's this song about? And we tweaked the lyrics a little, but
Mhm.
Paul had that. And that was the first one that to me showed the magic of this team, because I was like, okay, this blows me away. And as you say, it's kind of long, but it was what it was. The song wants to be what it wants to be. It's perfect for sync, because they'll just take sections out of it and they'll put it in a TV show or a movie or
Yeah.
commercial. But that was the first one that showed us the potential of the Doll team to me,
Right.
because
Huh.
Paul brought that in as a finished product, and then Lucy and I tweaked it to make sure that the listener would understand more of what it was about, but without disrupting the magic that Paul just sits
Yeah.
down. Paul is sort of like a Buddhist in this. He'll say, songs arrive. Like most people say, I wrote that song. And he'll say, here's what arrived this morning as I was getting ready for our write.
We're fragile, but we're free. We are broken in pieces, but somehow your heart reaches me. We are living till we die. We make the most of every moment, knowing that the time is flying by. We are fragile, but we are free. We are moving when we are still. We are revolving around what spins around us, and always will. We are standing till we fall, but we pick ourselves back up, 'cause it's not luck but only love that saves us all. Hearts will break and life will take a turn. Islands form and wash away, but still we burn. We burn. 'Cause we are fragile, but we are free. We are broken into pieces, but somehow your heart reaches me. We are fragile, but we are free. We are fragile, but we are free.
That's We Are Fragile, written by the Doll Group and performed again by Paul DeMarco.
I really love that sense of you're obviously an active participant in it, but it comes through you and it comes to you, and it's influenced by everything you've heard before. Like you say, the 68 years of listening to music and being a human and all that stuff. Paul is really good at being a channel for whatever comes through him. And then of course, then you get into the editing and the craft of the thing,
Right. Yeah.
when you record it and when you tweak it.
And
Paul, can I ask you, do you remember how that song arrived to you? We Are Fragile?
Absolutely. For me, that song was a real turning point because during lockdown, for performing musicians, the world stopped, and I was a window cleaner before, and then my fiance had convinced me that I shouldn't be. She convinced me that I should be a full-time musician. It's what I should be doing, and I have her to thank for that. But then lockdown happened, and my gigs stopped. I was getting some production work because people were writing, which was good. But the gigging and the teaching was out the window. So there's a charity in the UK called Help Musicians, and they decided to try and help musicians to not have to go shelf stacking in the local supermarket. Right. Let's try and keep these musicians working. And they gave us a little bit of money just to keep us going as well. It wasn't a lot, but it was something. But they invited us to join songwriting retreats online. And I was invited to this retreat, to apply for this retreat, which was run by Chris Difford from the UK band Squeeze. Now, he's an amazing songwriter, and I didn't fully understand what was going to happen. And I ended up on this Zoom session where Chris was there in the on the screen, and he was just putting us into writing teams, sending us off to go and write. And it was interesting that it had kind of triggered something in me, and it had got me writing again properly and feeling what I wrote. And I remember on the very last session, somebody asked Chris about the rules of songwriting. And I'd been writing with country writers, and it was all about the rules. It was like, you can't do that because you can't do that. You can't do that. So at the very end, Chris, he's in his little writing room where he writes, and somebody asked him about the rules, and he went, "Oh, hang on a second," and he turned around in his little writing room, and he got this little book, and he held it up to the camera, and he said, "That's the book of songwriting rules," and everyone went, "Oh." He said, "Do you want to know what's in it?" And we went, "Yeah." He said, "I'm not going to tell you what in it. In fact," he said, and he tossed it over his shoulder into the back of the room. He said, "When I write, I've learned the rules, but when I write, I don't think about the rules. I just write." And I was like, wow. And then the very next morning, I woke up and I wrote We Are Fragile. I picked up my guitar and I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to write what I feel. And obviously the world was quite fragile, and yet there was hope. Everybody was pulling together and things were kind of strengthening around us. The world was like healing itself. It was very strange circumstances. I remember these videos of dolphins in Venice, in the canals of Venice, and we noticed that there were no airplane lines in the sky. It was just clear sky, and the birds were alive. And so I wrote We Are Fragile, and I just sat down and I just wrote what I felt. And when I brought it in the next day to the right with Bill and Lucy, it was a moment, right. And it was really good because I've learned the rules. We practice the rules, but then there comes a time where you put it in a drawer and go, okay, somebody's got to feel this, so now I've got to write this. Right. And that's what, from then on, I think that's what we really started doing. And now when we're in a room and we go, oh, we can't say that because blah, 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 we look at each other and go, yeah, but it sounds good and it feels good. Yeah. So we do it.
And I think that's where workshops and those kind of training sessions and being in a Songtown group or all this, the background work that you do to, quote, learn the rules is quite valuable. I've hosted Pat Pattison and various other people for workshops up here in Halifax. And you get that stuff in the back of your mind. It's part of that intelligence system that sits back there when you're writing, and you get the creative urge, and you let the creative take over for as long as you can while you craft the song, and then you worry about the tools, shall we say, the rules and the tools. It's a good thing to remind yourself to not put the rules and tools in place until you have something that has the emotion. Yeah.
I had a really interesting moment with We Are Fragile just before we joined this Zoom. I haven't played the song for a long time. It's not the type of song I play at my gigs. I play to like crowded pubs, and people want something they can sing along to or something upbeat, even if I do my own songs. And so I just brought up the lyrics and I just played the song. And what I loved about it was I still felt it.
Right.
I could still feel that song like it was trickling through me, and that was that restored my faith in everything, which was a nice feeling.
Good. Right on. Well, I really appreciate your time, you guys, and I know that cutting into your writing time, so I won't carry on. I don't know if there's anything you guys want to say. I know you have the writers' workshop coming up online. You've got some in the archives people can look into. And
well, I mean, yeah, I think that's one thing, is that the three of us, we have this, in addition to being psychotically optimistic, we have this desire to give back to the world when we would learn something, because you spend so much time trying to figure out how to do the songwriting thing, and then how to do the songwriting business part.
Right.
And, we're really good at making sure the songs don't gather digital dust in our computers. And so we were like, okay, let's do a webinar because we're good at this. You've written a song you love. Now what? Now where do you go next? Is it really a great song, or have you fooled yourself?
Right.
And then what do you do if it's really a great song and you want to get it out in the world? Most people that we know don't do well at that. And we have gotten really good at that. I mean, Lucy's got hundreds of cuts. Paul's had so many songs recorded and released. I've had, 120 something, and I started after these two. But it's important, if you love that song, to get it out in the world and not just have it sit on your computer, or your family and friends are the only ones who hear it, which is fine if that's your goal. But if you want to get your song out so it changes the world and moves the world and expresses that emotion, we want to help people figure that out.
Great.
That's our next.
Great.
Yeah.
I will forward as many people as I can into your bucket.
Great. Great. Cool.
Thank you. Now, you've also got a couple of exclusive on that list as well, Robert, if you use them. Daddy-O and So Wonderfully Weird hasn't been released yet. All the other songs have been released, so they're unreleased. So
Daddy-O, the only song with Lucy LeBlanc as an artist on it.
Lucy is on that, singing.
Oh, are you singing in the...
Yeah. We'll tell you that quick story before we go, and that is, one time, as Lucy does, she'll send a whole lyric, but she doesn't usually send a melody thing. And she just sent this voice memo that she was walking around, and this occurred to her. And she just started saying, Daddy-O, 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 Daddy-O. And she said, maybe there's something we can make something out of that. Right. Paul and I went wild, and we're like, yes. And so we wrote the song to it, and Paul put Lucy's thing, and she was like, no, I know you're going to do somebody else is going to sing that part, right? And Paul and I looked at each other, and we're like, no way are we going to let anyone else sing that? That is perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. And she was like, I don't know. She wasn't comfortable. Now she's proud of it. She's happy with it, partly because she's played it for music supervisors, and they're like, wow, I love that.
Oh, so cool.
She got more confident.
So I used the voice note because it made it sound like a sample from like the 50s or 60s, like an old vinyl sample on the voice note. And so we've sampled Lucy.
But we haven't put that on the world yet, so that's an exclusive. What's the other one that's exclusive, Paul?
So Wonderfully Weird's the other exclusive.
Wonderfully Weird. It hasn't been put out yet, so.
And with the beauty of technology these days, even if you were a little sharp or flat to the thing, Paul probably made a miracle out of it. You guys could be doing it in a different key. It'd be great.
I'd say I didn't have to tune Lucy at all.
No, and he built the track around that. He built the whole thing around that. So
that's great.
That was the song.
I've heard her sing.
You have.
Yeah, well, I've heard the voice in the room, in the writing room.
Occasionally she'll do a note or two, but she's very reluctant most of the time.
But I know that she has a nice voice, right?
Well, I think we'll make progress when she gets the piano out from under her bed and I hear her play piano. She said it's not going to happen, but I'm a psychotic optimist and I hold out hope.
The water, help me find my way. trials. Now I'm ready for a soul revival. I'm ready. I've been skimming across the surface. I couldn't sink down deep. Now I'm on my knees looking for a sign. I wanna see the light and believe. I just need a little soul revival. I need to come back to life. I waded through a river of trials. Now I'm ready. I'm ready for a soul revival. Ooh, yeah. This flood is gonna keep on rising, so I'm searching for some higher ground. Well, there must be more than just surviving. Tell me, can you feel me now? Won't you carry me across the water and help me find my way? Well, I don't need to bathe my sins in wine, but I'm looking to be saved. I just need a little soul revival. I need to come back to life. I waded through a river of trials. Now I'm ready. I'm ready for a soul revival. A soul revival. I'm ready for a soul revival. Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for a soul revival. A soul revival. Said I'm ready. I'm ready for a soul revival.
That's Paul DeMarco singing Soul Revival, and of course, written by the Doll Group. That's it. We're good. I'm really appreciative of your time, and who knows, maybe we'll write someday. And any of you get to the east coast of Canada, you have a venue, you have a place to stay.
Robert, I wanted to say too, occasionally I do a free thing for songwriting groups, and that is on part of my melody writing book with Clay. It's called the Line Plus Three Method, and I
Right.
just do a presentation on that. I'd be happy to do that sometime for your group if you want.
Okay, we've reached the end of the podcast version of the show. And again, thank you very much for being here. Since you're hearing this, if you reach out to me, the first person who contacts me via email, songwriters@sfhaa.ca, will get their choice of a free ticket to a show that we're producing in Halifax, or a collection of CDs from various artists that I have. So here's one last little piece from the recording that we did. Just something that I found rather interesting. Lucy, between you guys, you write about 8 billion songs a year.
And Lucy, you should tell them maybe the story of how our song co-opetition came about.
All right. Yeah, you guys competing for who is writing the most songs. I noticed that that's downplayed a little bit now, but
Yeah.
Bill is competitive in a nice way.
right.
And I don't remember why you and I started that
Well,
competition.
I do, but I wanted to tell the story. But let me tell that part of the story, and then you can go back. Well, I used to see Lucy's social media posts, which I'm sure you see, and she's really good at putting out there what she's up to. And I was sort of new to the songwriting business, and I kept seeing Lucy's posts. And one year she posted, "I wrote 100 songs last year." And I was like, wow, I've never even counted how many songs I've written, but 100 songs, and I went back and counted what I'd written the year before, and I'd written 40 songs. And I thought, wow, that's something to aspire to, what Lucy's doing. I'd like to be like Lucy when I grow up. And then the next year, I decided, I really worked at it. I wrote 100 songs, at like 102 or something. And Lucy posted at the end of that year, I wrote 150 songs this year. And I thought, there's no way. And then the next year, I wrote 153 songs, and Lucy posted, I wrote 200 songs this year. And I'm like, I will never catch up with Lucy LeBlanc. But she's good, because she's like the pace rabbit, for the races, for the dogs. And I would pace that. And the next year, we'd started writing together a fair amount. In January, like late January, we were on a call together, and I said, "Oh, you probably way ahead of me, this month, because I aspire someday to be Lucy LeBlanc and catch up with you." And she said, "Oh no, I've had a bunch of cancellations, and I've only written 11 songs." And I thought, I've written 20 songs this year already. And I was like, I'm going to savor this brief moment when I'm ahead of Lucy LeBlanc. She goes, oh, well, would you like to have a little friendly competition this year? See who writes it? I grew up in a really competitive family. I don't like to do competition, but yes. She goes, okay. Well, she said it would really help me get back on the horse and get going and make sure, I get my songs done. Yeah. So we had a competition that year, and I'll let Lucy take the story from there.
Well, it just seemed that, and we kind of did friendly sniping at one another, you know what I mean? Right. And Bill would post, oh, I'm at 15. I said, well, watch out. I'm right behind you. I got 13 new ones. And, and people related to this, like we were just doing this back and forth, and people were watching it. And, oh, look at this. But it was a friendly competition. And Bill put out all the stops. He beat me fair and square the whole year. The next year, Paul came in on the competition as well.
And we were screwed because Paul, even though he has a full-time job, family, he wrote way more songs. He wrote over 400 songs that year. And Lucy and I did pretty well. We were in the 300s. But nowhere close to Paul. Yeah. And we sent Paul a little trophy because he won it that year.
I'm looking hard on the back wall, Paul. I don't see the trophy up in the studio here.
That's because it's in pride of place in my living room. It's a family affair, so it's on the mantelpiece in my living room.
Here's mine from the previous year.
Fantastic. That's great. Well,